What happens when a championship dynasty realizes their greatest weakness might be solved by betting everything on a player most teams would consider past his prime. The Golden State Warriors are staring down this exact dilemma, and their answer could determine whether Steph Curry gets one last shot at basketball immortality or watches his championship window slam shut forever. The championship formula that's leaving Golden State behind, picture this. You're watching the playoffs, and every team that's making serious noise has one thing in common: a towering presence who can drain threes like a guard and swat shots like a brick wall. The Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers didn't stumble into the finals by accident. They rode the backs of versatile big men who redefined what championship basketball looks like in 2025. Meanwhile, the Warriors are stuck watching from the sidelines, their revolutionary small ball approach suddenly looking as outdated as flip phones. It's a cruel twist of basketball fate. The team that pioneered positionless basketball is now being left behind because they lack the very position they once made irrelevant. Brook Lopez, the 37-year-old Milwaukee Bucks center earning $48 million over 2 seasons, has emerged as Golden State's most intriguing solution. But here's where it gets fascinating. This isn't just about adding another player. This is about a franchise gambling their remaining championship equity on a veteran who could either complete their puzzle or become their most expensive mistake. The Lopez Renaissance. From forgotten center to championship catalyst Brook, Lopez's career transformation reads like a basketball fairy tale written by analytics nerds. Remember the old Brook Lopez? The plodding post player who lived exclusively in the paint, lumbering up and down the court like basketball's answer to a friendly giant? That player is extinct, replaced by something far more dangerous and valuable. Since the 2022-23 season began, Lopez has been launching 1.8 three-pointers per game while connecting at a blistering 37.1% rate. These aren't charity attempts or desperate heaves. These are legitimate weapon shots that force opposing defenses into impossible decisions. Do you guard him at the three-point line and leave the paint vulnerable? Or do you sag off and watch him rain down threes with the accuracy of a sniper? Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report perfectly captured Lopez's unique value proposition. His outside attack is aging like wine. While most 37-year-old players are watching their skills deteriorate, Lopez has somehow discovered the fountain of youth from beyond the arc. It's as if Father Time looked at his shooting stroke and decided to grant him a temporary exemption from the aging process. But Lopez isn't just a stretch 5 novelty act. His defensive credentials include 2 all-defensive team selections and a second-place finish in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He's the rare player who can anchor a championship defense while providing the floor spacing that makes modern offenses lethal. The glaring problem that haunts Golden State's championship dreams here's the uncomfortable truth that Warriors fans don't want to acknowledge. Their dynasty is dying from the inside out, killed by a size deficiency that becomes more obvious with each playoff failure. Watch Golden State in crucial postseason moments, and you'll witness the same heartbreaking pattern. Opponents attacking the rim with reckless abandon, offensive rebounds extending possessions, and their guards getting physically overwhelmed by teams with legitimate interior presence. It's basketball death by 1,000 cuts, each one delivered by their inability to match up with teams that deploy traditional centers who can do modern things. The league has evolved past Golden State's innovation, leaving them stranded with a revolutionary concept that's no longer revolutionary. Lopez would immediately transform this weakness into a strength. His 7-foot frame and shot-blocking instincts would make opponents think twice before attacking the basket. His three-point shooting would prevent defenses from sagging off and clogging driving lanes for Curry and Klay Thompson. Most importantly, his championship pedigree would provide the veteran leadership that separates contenders from pretenders. The championship clock is ticking louder than ever. Stephen Curry is 37 years old, still performing miracles with basketball, but operating on borrowed time. Draymond Green remains a defensive genius, but his offensive limitations become more glaring each season. Klay Thompson's explosive athleticism is a memory, replaced by crafty veteran savvy that only goes so far against elite competition. This is Golden State's championship reality. There may be 2 more legitimate title runs left before age renders their core incapable of competing at the highest level. Every roster decision carries championship or bust implications. making the Lopez pursuit feel less like smart roster construction and more like desperate gambling. Adding Lopez to this aging core creates fascinating possibilities. His rim protection would allow Draymond to roam more freely on defense, potentially unlocking new wrinkles in their defensive schemes. His three-point shooting would create more space for Curry's off-ball movement, possibly extending the prime of the greatest shooter in basketball history. The harsh reality check. Lopez's playoff vulnerability is exposed before Warriors fans start planning championship parades. Let's examine why Lopez might not be their salvation. The Indiana Pacers provided a brutal masterclass in Lopez exploitation during their first-round playoff series, essentially played him off the floor by forcing him into switching situations that expose his lack of lateral mobility. At 37, Lopez simply cannot stay with modern wing players who attack him in space. His defensive value plummets when he's pulled away from the rim, whereas positioning and instincts make him elite. Against the Western Conference's collection of athletic, versatile offenses, Lopez could become a playoff liability that opponents target mercilessly. The age factor looms like a dark cloud over any potential acquisition, while his shooting has remained consistent. Banking a championship run on a 37-year-old center who's already showing defensive limitations feels more like desperation than calculation. The market battle. When desperation meets competition, Lopez's free agency won't unfold in a vacuum, and that's where Golden State's pursuit becomes complicated. The Milwaukee Bucks will presumably fight to retain their defensive anchor as they try convincing Giannis Antetokounmpo that staying provides his best championship path. Losing Lopez would signal organizational surrender, exactly the wrong message to send their superstar. The Los Angeles Lakers represent another formidable suitor, possessing similar big man needs and financial flexibility to make competitive offers. LeBron James and Anthony Davis need exactly what Lopez provides: rim protection, floor spacing, and championship experience. A bidding war between desperate contenders could drive Lopez's price beyond any reasonable return on investment. The championship verdict. Legacy-defining decision, the Brook Lopez pursuit represents more than roster construction. It's a statement about how Golden State views their remaining championship window. If they believe multiple title runs remain possible, Lopez makes sense as a high-floor addition who addresses glaring weaknesses while providing veteran leadership. But if this represents their final realistic championship opportunity, Lopez's limitations become magnified. Can a 37-year-old center who gets exploited by elite playoff competition really be the missing piece for a Western Conference championship run? The answer depends less on Lopez individually and more on Golden State's ability to construct complementary pieces around him. Surrounded by the right supporting cast, Lopez could thrive in their system. As a standalone solution to their championship puzzle, he feels more like expensive hope than genuine transformation. Warriors management faces a legacy-defining decision that will determine whether Curry's final chapters include more championship glory or disappointed what-ifs. The Lopez gamble encapsulates everything about win-now pressure. Sometimes the difference between championship and failure comes down to betting everything on an aging veteran who might have one more magical run left in him. So what's your verdict on this high-stakes championship chess move? Is Lopez the perfect veteran catalyst to unlock one more Warriors title run? Or would they be better served looking elsewhere for their interior solution? Jump into the comments and let me know where you stand on this fascinating crossroads moment. And don't forget to hit that like button if you're as captivated as I am by these make-or-break decisions that separate championship dynasties from faded glory.